You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions. Your host tonight is the author of the Pro-Black Compendium and Zuberi and the Maroons of Maa, the Pan-African Nationalist, Oni. Oni, what are we discussing tonight?
So today we're going to discuss the need for the September 2nd course on African philosophy. For those of you who do not know, Marcus Garvey authored a book called Message to the People, the Course on African Philosophy. And what he detailed was the qualities and the traits and the intelligence and the knowledge and the wisdom and what you would need to be a leader in the 20th and 21st century. And what I would do with this course is I would modernize it, contemporize it. Let it fit where we are. Because Garvey used his lessons, but some of these lessons are going to be outdated. Tony Martin, who put this book together, said it was outdated when he wrote it. And that was 40 years ago. Well, the question is, who can update it? And what can we do as a collective, as a class, to take us in the direction that we need to be? Because what we have to realize for us is that we as a people suffer from a leadership problem. Now, I often quote Carter G. Woodson, who says, we don't need leaders, we need workers. But the reality is that we need workers under good leadership. The trouble with our people is that we have quote-unquote misleaders who are only about talking. And that's what you don't need. What you need are leaders to lead us into working. It's kind of like you need a CEO so that the workers are all working accordingly. Or if not a CEO, you need some sort of apparatus to direct the flow of the economy. And that's something that we don't have. We don't have direction in our economies. We don't have direction in our economies. Classic example is the black hair care products. I heard from a sister the other day. She said, "Oh well, I was in this black shop and they don't have as much as the Chinese do." Now, if anyone was paying attention to social media, if you will, right, you were seeing Chinese people, like a Chinese man, literally punch a black woman in the face for standing in front of his store, or you had the store where black people were being pummeled. Black women were being pummeled for skipping out on a $5 bill because the worker there screwed up on the job. Pummeled and sprayed with acid. And that is part and parcel because of our lack of leadership. There's no direction. Once upon a time, black people had the hair care industry. Once upon a time, then you had these big name celebrities go and work for these white boys, right? And say, hey, come get this product instead of the product you're used to. Instead of the product that your sisters made, come with these white folk with all these genetic stuff, the genetic modifications. Then when these white people got us out of that hair care industry, right? They started telling these Koreans overseas, hey, look, you can come to America and plant your businesses in black communities. Plant them in black communities, get their money, yada yada, and you'll be well off. And we've been giving to them ever since. And sure, you might say, well, they got a better, because they have direction. They have leadership. They call up the big people in their community and say, hey, should I do business with this black person? No. Should a black person be my supplier? No. Should I give these black people the same? No. They have leadership. They have direction. And some of you might say, well, it should be a code. What code? Who wrote it? Like I said, Marcus Garvey wrote this book, but it's still, you could still see how some of it is outdated. Some of it are outdated. He's going to tell you to read some books that you don't even necessarily need to read anymore. The object and the objective here is that we have to realize that there is a need for leadership in our community. And too often we don't take up the mantle, we don't take up the responsibility to put that leadership into our people. We don't take up our own personal responsibility. You're responsible for leadership in your community. The leadership's not just going to come down. You got to be the leader. At least you got to know what a leader looks like. You got to at least know what a leader looks like. A lot of us don't. I'm going to give you an example later, and you're going to see what I mean. But right now, we got to see, we have to, I want you to say this with me. I have a leadership problem. I have a leadership problem. In Africa, on our continent, it's estimated that $148 billion goes to corruption. And they beg collectively for $40 billion in foreign aid. $148 billion going to corruption. Imagine if there was not that leadership. The corruption is a leadership problem. Corruption is a leadership problem. You have men without integrity going into the higher offices and taking out money for their own coffers, putting it in Wazungu banks. You have that. That's a situation of your homeland. And then you have Africans under who are like, hey, I gotta vote for this person. I gotta put this person up. Let's keep them in power. Let's do this. Let's do that. Oh man, we get screwed, but it's okay. Another person was saying that these quote unquote leaders would enforce upon the economy their own ideas, and in so doing, if the people were like, hey, I'm just gonna trade, I'm gonna barter, I'm gonna do that, they would kill them. They would destroy their stores. They would. This is poor leadership, and that's what's rampant in your community. Rampant. It's not just in Africa. I'm going to break it down here in America too, but it's not just in Africa. But the trouble is that we don't even know what a good leader is supposed to be. Because regardless of what you want to say, you still have supporters of these tyrants, of these dictators in Africa. And we need more voices to let us know what is wrong with this person exactly. What is wrong with begging for $40 billion collectively? What is wrong with just wasting $148 billion? There is an African leader that I don't even want to discuss right now. I don't even want to discuss right now because you need to know about him. You need to know about him, but I'm not going to discuss it right now. Transformed his economy within a year. And then again and again, just improving upon his economy of his nation. And white people were like, oh, you can't do that. That's impossible. The black intellectuals were like, oh, you can't do that. That's impossible. And he did it. Over and over again. Because that's what powerful leadership is. That's what leadership can do. The difference between his regime or his government and the government before him and the government after him was good leadership. And again, the trouble that we have is that we're not exposing ourselves to the good ideas. We're not involving ourselves with the good ideas. We're not communicating with the people who know. I look at you. I look at what's going on your social media. I look at the intellectuals, the thinkers, the activists. I look at the little private dialogues, the little conversations you have. And I'm telling you, at some point, I'm going to have to start becoming a climate denier. I'm going to have to start saying maybe global warming is not happening. And I know it's happening, but I might have to start saying that just because you guys recycle too much. You have to realize you're messing up. This course on African philosophy on September 2nd, you need to sign up for. You! Too many times you say, hey, look, I don't think it's not me, it's someone else. It's got to be someone else. That's what someone told in the course on African philosophy. Is when you read the preface, you'll see that someone told that to Garvey and said, hey, look, I know everything. And Garvey said, I know you don't know. I know you don't know. And look, I'm going to tell you this. I know you don't know. I don't care what your name is. I know you don't know. I know you don't know. A while back, there was this, I loaned this brother this book called How to Build a Revolutionary Army, something like that. I didn't really, it wasn't as descriptive as I would have liked, right? But there was one part of the book that suggested that if you're going to do some work inside of a community, you should reach out to the community leaders and let them know what you're doing, right? Now, not just the community leaders, but just the different people in the community, and I'll elaborate on that a little later, right? So, eventually, the brother that I was, because I was doing some events in a certain area, right? And so this brother said, hey, I want you to meet this person, and like one of the people in my crew was like, I want you to meet this person. So we met, we talked, I joked on this person, a little bit, yada yada. But I noticed that as we were talking, there was these kids that would these kids would ride by on their bikes and ask, hey, are you good? To the guy talking to me. And he was like, yeah, I'm good. And then he'd go, and then again the kids would come by and be like, well, not just kids, but sometimes they're probably old, I don't know. But they would come by and say, hey, you good? And he's like, yeah. Whatever, right? And I'm talking to this guy, this community leader, I guess, like, come on, you're wrong, dude, you're wrong, blah, 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 blah. Come to find out, this dude was a gangbanger. He was the gang leader, local gang leader, because in the book they say you should reach out to all the community leaders, including gang leaders, right? So I'm there counting on some gang leader, right? And he had a lot of intelligence. He had a lot of intelligence. But here's this gang leader, likely drugs, likely, inter neighborhood conflicts, a lot of that. And I'm there talking like blah, blah, blah. But of course he's talking to me like, hey, this is the brother that I respect. Notwithstanding that I can't necessarily be involved in hosting events with him, and of course, the dude I was with, the dude who introduced us. Now, unbeknownst to me, this was a death trap, right? I'm just joking out. But the dude who introduced us was laughing when the dude was saying, the gangbanger was saying, oh, I belong to a fraternal organization that's been in this area for a long time. Now I'm like, I never heard of no fraternal and no fraternity. In the middle of the hood, I never heard that. I was amazed. I was like, wow, I didn't know there was a fraternity here. And of course, the other dude was laughing because he knows what's going on. Now, obviously, I think I told him maybe you shouldn't set me up with no gangsters without letting me know. You know what I'm saying? But why I'm saying this, why I'm talking about these gangsters, because these gangsters, although they're in the diaspora, they represent the same corruption, the same bad leadership that those African dictators have. The same one. The big difference is that they don't have any responsibility for providing water. They don't have any responsibility for providing elections. They might necessarily say, well, we're going to do protection, right? But the reality is that here they are reaching out to young boys, right? Reaching out to young people, taking over communities, if you will, and trying to take all the resources for themselves and for their posse. The same kind of corruption. And when you were talking with this brother, you would think, hey, this is a conscious brother. He just doesn't want to work with us. This is a conscious brother. He just can't commit to coming out and doing the work and being a presence. He can't commit to that. And of course he can't, because he's involved in a bunch of, inter-African warfare. right? But he was a conscious brother. I can't remember. I think he was trying to, not too conscious. He was trying to say, oh, it's not all white people, this and that. And of course, I had to correct him on that, But the whole thing is that his intelligence is wasted, killing and dealing. But if you go through when you go through the hood, you see these young people, and I'm talking young, like 11, 10, 13, that kind of young, needing some leadership, needing it, and no one but these cons, these corrupt people are there to provide it, and it's not just them. You might say, okay, it's just the hood, man, it's just the hood, whatever, get the hood. It's every one of us. We got the academics. What are they doing? They're corrupt as well. They're selling their people down. Selling their people. For a little bit of money, they're giving all these you have to notice that you have a leadership problem. There's no direction. None. Even the best of you, the very best, are in need of real African leadership. And I'm telling you, this course is what you need to take. This course is what you need to take. It's an online course. It's over the phone. It's inexpensive. And it's necessary. Because a lot of times you want to turn around and say, well, it's that group. Oh, it's the dictators. They need leadership. It's the gangbangers. No, they need leadership. Oh, no, it's the academics, it's the bourgeois. They need leadership. Selling you out on television. Television. Selling you out. So many Africans are selling you out because you don't know. You're not teaching people to know better. To do better. And it's on you. And I'm going to tell you, like I said, it's the best, the very best, the top, the echelon. The zenith. Here's Jacob Carruthers himself giving a tribute to Bobby E. Wright. Now you got to understand, this is Jacob Carruthers giving a tribute to Bobby E. Wright. These are top individuals. It's not your chump change. It's not your, oh, well, this gangbanger don't know better. It's not this oldest academic, well, he just, no. This is Jacob Carruthers. Listen to this paragraph. Listen to this paragraph and you think about what's wrong with this paragraph. This is in the Irritated Genie. Page X. After he led his people to victory, Dessalines established a black nation where all citizens were known under the general denomination of black. Delaney envisioned an African nation founded by repatriated blacks who would become a superpower and destroy by force of economy and arms black slavery throughout the world. Garvey advocated an African government encompassing the whole continent of Africa and all black people in the world. Malcolm X proposed that the people in the United States abandon the domestic civil rights struggle and take our case to the international arena as an oppressed nation. Jacob Carruthers wrote that. He said that at a tribute for Bobby E. Wright. Now you tell me what was wrong with that. You pause right now. You pause and you figure out what's wrong with that. You send me a comment in YouTube. You pause and you figure out what was wrong with that. We're going to a commercial.
Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Black people face one problem. The problem of ignorance. This is why those who opposed us stole us from our parents. disconnected us from our continent and enforced on us illiteracy. But now the ignorance is self-inflicted. We send our children to their machines. We detach ourselves from our motherland, and we don't read meaningful literature. Consciousness is a series of stages. The sooner we get to one, the sooner we are ready for the higher. The Pro-Black Compendium accelerates the beginner to the advanced and provides for the advanced an unparalleled breadth. This is the sort of book your enemies do not want you to read, but our ancestors would insist you read twice. Where in the world is the black race the leading race? Where in the world is the white man underfoot while black men wear the boots on their necks? Is it in Africa, where the dictators shoot down families, robbing them and sending that stolen money to Wazungu banks? Is it in the diaspora, where police agents masquerade as conscious or woke, keeping the population dull and passive, marching, petitioning, but ultimately integrating? No, it's nowhere. The once leading race doesn't even have a damn leader and wouldn't even know one if he showed up. Until now. Marcus Garvey, the greatest organizer of the 20th century, left us the course on African philosophy, and I'm teaching it from September 2nd to December 11th for $5 a week. If $5 a week is too much of an investment from you to change the destiny of your people, then I already know all I need to know about you. However, those of you who understand the task we need to take, sign up before September 2nd at africanbloodsiblings.wordpress.com/Garvey. The time for playing is over. Black leadership is coming back. The days of the fearless cracker are no more. Tuliende ma'at. Tushiende isfet. Tuendele ankobia.
You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio.
And so I hope you wrote it down. I hope you wrote me a comment. I hope you paused. If not, like I said, just pause right now. Send me a comment on YouTube. Tell me what was wrong with that paragraph. Tell me what was wrong with that paragraph. You pause right here. Now, I hope I'm reading in the comment section that you started off with Dessalines, black leader, forming a pro-black, black power nation. You have Delaney operating under the vision that, hey, look, I'm going to form a pro-black, black nation in Africa. You have Marcus Garvey saying, look, I'm going to form a pro-black, and he's working toward it. He's working toward forming a pro-black, black power system of nations all over the continent of Africa. And then you have Malcolm X, and he says, I'm going to go to the United Nations, and I'm going to tell you that we are an oppressed people. He's going to go to a bunch of white people and tell them, the people with their feet on your neck, he's going to go to them and tell them, hey, we're oppressed people. And you got to see a problem with that. If you don't see a problem with that, that's why you need a leadership course. If you don't see the problem with following men of vision, leaders, people who were doing great things for their own people and telling their people, look, we got to get up, we got to do something, versus a person who says, hey, look, I'm gonna go tell these white boys what they're doing to me already. They already know what they're doing to you because they're doing it. If I'm beating somebody up and they tell me, hey man, you're beating me up, I know this. My fists are swinging. My fists are swinging. But the thing is this, that most of our who's the biggest leader of those people actually? Who's the biggest? Who's the biggest? Who is everybody following right now? Who is the representative? Because in this very preface, like I told you, in this very preface, they say Malcolm X is tops. This is, as far as I understand, this is Jacob Carruthers. He don't say it to anybody else. This is Jacob Carruthers. And it's not just him, because even Bobby E. Wright is saying, hey, look, I mentioned certain people. I mentioned Shaka, Dessalines, Delaney, Henry Turner, Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, and Chancellor Williams. You got to understand the problem with that. And let me see if I can find where he talks about why Malcolm X. Oh, Malcolm X, right here. He says very early, Malcolm X was, in a sense, the archetype of contemporary black nationalists. And they say, well, even though, you know what, it's not even worth continuing. Archetype of black nationalists. That's the trouble. That's why you are failing. Because you have, and this is a brilliant, this is a brilliant mind over here. This isn't chump change. This is tops. When your best have a problem, you have a problem. It's okay for your worst to have a problem. You got white boys who jump head first from windows onto their necks because it's stupid. But it doesn't matter because they're the worst. They're the bottom. You don't matter. And I'm telling you, need this course. I know a lot of you hearing this, like, man, look, Oni. I don't wanna. No. None of that. It's our time is now. I'm offering the course now. Now you might ask, well, brother, okay, let me get this straight. You're gonna have a course on WhatsApp. How does it go? How does it operate? On Sunday, you're gonna have to read a certain number of pages a week, and it's gonna be around 20 pages. Okay, around 20 pages. You know what? The chapter here, maybe 2 chapters one time, maybe 3 chapters. This small. You're gonna read that, and actually, let me break down to you what's in these chapters. All right. Let me break down to you what's in these chapters, because these are fundamental things that you need to know. So let me pull up this curriculum right here. So this is in the table of contents of the course on African philosophy. You got to have intelligence and education, universal knowledge and how to get it. Leadership, the aims and objects of the UNIA, but of course we're going to change it from the UNIA to let's say the Oncobia. Let's say revolution. Let's say black nationalism. We're gonna like I said, we gotta evolve it. You're gonna have elocution. You're gonna have talks on religion, on character, on the social system, on diplomacy, on economy, on man, on the purpose of institutions, on the universe, on self-initiative, on personality, on propaganda. He's gonna talk about communism. He's gonna talk about commercial and industrial transactions, winning mankind by kindness, living for something, the history of the UNIA, and we're going to go deeper than that, of course, and then the 5-year plan of the UNIA. But you have to understand that this right here is necessary. And I'm going to give you valuable insights that you won't get anywhere else, because like I said, too many of you guys are trying to, it's a good thing you're trying to save the environment. It's a good thing. You got to. But the things that you're recycling are stupid. The things you're recycling are stupid. When I was younger, like I said, I was in the UAM, United African Movement, right? It was the only all-black political organization in New York City. Well, probably New York, but you know, this is what we were saying, New York City, right? All black. The chairman, however, you couldn't, even though there was only maybe 50 regular people at this point, because it went into a sharp decline. And I'm going to tell you about this in the next podcast. But it went to a sharp decline, right? So there was only about 50 people. Because when the organization said, look, we're going to have only black people, Sharpton took a bunch of people out. Said, no, we're not going to have that. We're only going to be all black people, all black money, that's it. He said, no, we're not going to have that. We're going to have the National Action Network. And so you can see what was happening, what was going on. But the chairman, and he's a great black man, and this is the thing, when you see a good black man, you got to go with him. You got to go with him. So this is Alton Maddox, great black man. For the entire time I was at these meetings, and I don't know how many, it could have been a number of years. The entire time, though, I only spoke with him once. Once. Dr. Jeffries, on the other hand, wasn't even a part of the organization. But he would come because this organization, they invited lecturers. They invited speakers. Different ones. You know, I've seen quite a handful of good, great black speakers, if you will, right? Coming in through it. And you will know them from when you see the tap videos on YouTube. At least some of them. But the big point here is that Dr. Jeffries was accessible. One time I sat down with Maddox and I said, hey, look, this is the thing that I'm interested in. And I was showing him some philosophy work that I was working on. You know, very, very young age, that's what I was doing. I was working on some philosophy work. I was like, this could be different if we could, change the mindset of our people. And this is something I was doing for years. But Dr. Jeffries, after I sat down with him, he said, okay, he went on stage and he said he was a nice young brother right there, smart young brother, yada, 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 right? And then he just went on what he was doing, right? Dr. Jeffries, I said, hey, Dr. Jeffries, I want to show you this. And I showed him it, and he was like, hey, you can explain it to me. And he drove me to the subway, and we spoke, and yada, yada. And then even after that, I would see him, occasionally at different events, and he was just that kind of person. But what you'll notice, right, and what you'll notice, too, is that they were not in the same organization. And there was a reason. Now, when I had this book right here, the Course on African Philosophy, I used that book to showcase what was going wrong with the leadership, even in my own organization. I said, let me draft this email to say, when you say these certain things, you got to go back to what Garvey was saying, because we were saying we were a Garvey organization. The Course on African Philosophy is the template for African leadership. Like, if you say you're Garveyite, you got to understand this document at least. It's one of those documents that I believe we should be reading every year. But now I'm going to read it with you. Because this is what's necessary for you. There was another brother in this organization. Now, this is a good brother. All right? Great brother. Right now he's president of a parent association because his girlfriend's son. He took his girlfriend's son for his own. Good man. Teaches his kid chess, Manchu arts, business. Young little brother. Teaches the little young boy this. Maddox never spoke to him. He was in the organization longer than me. And this is a great brother. Another brother started a book club. And when I invited him to my organization, he said, oh, you inspired me. Because when I was having my organization, we all talked to each other, got together, did stuff. Other brothers who was in there expanded their and developed their African Saturday school. I connected them. And I'm not trying to snitch on the accomplishments and the successes of the people that I was with. So I'm not going to give you too much detail. But even Ozymandias was one of them. Ozymandias, and that's a good brother. I lived this Garvey book. It's upon you. It's upon you to get the African leadership that you need. You know it. You know it in your heart. If you've ever been deceived by any African, you need an African leadership book. You need an African leadership course. If you've ever...
Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Peace Seeker. This is Oni from the Pro-Black Perspective, and we need power. Power will not be handed to us. We need to build power. But in order to build power, we need a power blueprint. You need to study the best blueprints available. You have Garveys. You have Wilsons. You have Williams. You have mine. Now, you'll have Cooks. Carlos A. Cooks was Garvey's best student. The greatest mind in the world from 1940 to 1966. Yes, the greatest. Yet Whitey doesn't want you to read his blueprint. Cook's blueprint isn't religious. Cook's isn't for integration. Cook's isn't for communism. Cook's isn't even for anti-blacks. Cook's blueprint is for Africa. And Cook's blueprint is the unknown blueprint that was the basis of black power as we know it today. When you say buy black, you're talking about Cooks. When you say black is beautiful, you're talking about Cooks. When you say Malcolm got something right, you're talking about Cooks. But Cook's blueprint was lost. And Whitey is hiding that blueprint behind a $1,000 paywall. He's hiding solutions from you, telling you you need to take out a small loan to get the information that can liberate you. Whitey does not want you to have solutions to your problems, but you need solutions. You need power. I will give you the Carlos A. Cooks Reader, valued over $1,000 at a 98% discount, $15. Send $15 to cash.me/$ABSONI with the subject Carlos and your email address, and I'll send you the ebook. We need power. You need blueprints. Start building today.
Greetings, family. This is Koku, host of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. In case you didn't know, we have an online book club called the Bitter Medicine Book Club. Every month, we will select a book to inspire the Bitter Medicine Podcast listening audience to read along together. At the end of the month, we will have a call-in show and book discussion. This is a great, dynamic way for readers to not only enjoy a book, but also have others to bounce ideas off of. They say if you want to keep anything away from black people, put it in a book. Don't allow this to be true. Head over to bittermedicineblogs.com and subscribe to our newsletter for important updates. Do that today. Join our reading collective today and empower yourselves, your family, and your community. Peace and blessings. Where
in the world is the black race the leading race? Where in the world is the white man underfoot while black men wear the boots on their necks? Is it in Africa, where the dictators shoot down families, robbing them and sending that stolen money to Wazungu banks? Is it in the diaspora, where police agents masquerade as conscious or woke, keeping the population dull and passive, marching, petitioning, but ultimately integrating? No, it's nowhere. The once leading race doesn't even have a damn leader and wouldn't even know one if he showed up. Until now. Marcus Garvey, the greatest organizer of the 20th century, left us the course on African philosophy, and I'm teaching it from September 2nd to December 11th for $5 a week. If $5 a week is too much of an investment from you to change the destiny of your people, then I already know all I need to know about you. However, those of you who understand the task we need to take, sign up before September 2nd at africanbloodsiblings.wordpress.com/Garvey. The time for playing is over. Black leadership is coming back. The days of the fearless cracker are no more. Tuliende ma'at, tushiende isfet, tuendele ankobia.
You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio.
We're going to discuss this leadership training more in depth. You got to understand, this is the stuff that you got to understand right now. We got to see the difference between learning from mistakes and repeating them. We've had all these debates before, all the variations, everything. Like I said, we're recycling. We've had all of this already. But you haven't. Our ancestors had these conversations. What do you think was going on when Dessalines came through? What do you think was happening when Delaney came through? What do you think happened when Garvey came through? But all you know is Malcolm. All you know is Malcolm. You gotta understand. You got James Farmer in history. James Farmer was a black man too. You got James Baldwin, matter of fact. Another black man. He's a black man, but you don't keep them. They were on the wrong side, so you get rid of them. You don't exalt them. You don't bring them up. But guess what this white boy's doing? He's giving you them people. He's giving you James Baldwin. He didn't even go on a farm. He's giving you James Baldwin. And then you like, oh man, these white boys, they don't know. You got a leadership problem because first off, you're sending all your kids to their schools. You're sending all your kids to their schools. And they're telling your kids, these are your ancestors. Du Bois is your ancestors. Police agent. James Baldwin is your ancestor. Soft, limp wrist. Toussaint is your ancestor. Francophile. Frederick Douglass is your ancestor. Got with a white woman. White beast. I'm gonna show you your ancestors. How you supposed to see them. This is about clarity. And it's not just clarity. We're gonna go over how to communicate clearly to effectuate your goals. You gotta have goals. You gotta have vision. I go back to the example I gave you before. Dessalines said we're gonna form a black nation. There were people in Dessalines' time who would say, hey, look, let's just become French citizens. You remember You remember the revolution, the Constitution, the Haiti Constitution? We're going to become French citizens. Black men saying that. Black men who are enslaved saying, let's just be French. And you have that today. No, Desalegn said, look, we're going to form a black nation and we're going to make everybody free. Delaney said, let me go through, stop slavery by forming a black nation. And then when the Civil War broke out, he said, look, I'm going to become a major. I'm going to kill those crackers down there. Me and mine. We're going to kill them. Garvey, Saint King, President of Africa, King of Africa, whatever you want to call it, that was Garvey. And then who do you follow? Malcolm.
No, I think there's some, Well, I think we need to go to the UN and make our case for the fact that we're being oppressed.
Where does that make sense? But it makes sense to you because you have him on your wall. Look at your wall. We're going to do some in-depth analysis on recruiting, on learning, on teaching, on perfecting. You're going to have questions every week on Sunday that you can answer up until Friday. And we're going to have open discussion on Saturday. I'm going to give you a grade. And I'm going to tell you right now what the grade is going to be on. Because the essence of this is effective communication, effective teaching, effective leadership. But it's going to be on elocution. This is something that I'm telling you, down the line, you fail. You fail at elocution. I don't want to call out any names. So I'm not going to. But if you listen to some of the people speaking now, you will go to sleep. It don't make any sense. Why are you listening to these people? You're not going to listen. They're not going to affect any change. They're not going to be anything because they can't speak. And I'm going to teach you this one. Then we got reasoning. A lot of people don't have any reasoning. I'm gonna ask you these questions, and you're gonna have to be put to task. And of course, we're gonna have some correctives on you. We're gonna make you into something. And then vision. You notice the vision. That was the problem with Malcolm over there. Some of you might say, well, Malcolm was this, Malcolm was that. No, he had no vision. Again, Dessalines created the black nation. Delaney was in the works. And then he said, wait a second, there's an opportunity to go kill some crackers in the South. I'm taking it. And then Garvey said, look here, 6 million. And he wrote a book and he said, hey, look, read this book. He said, don't get it in the hands of enemies. But I'm going to get some people, I'm going to train them on this. And now you got, and you have cooks. I keep telling you to get that Cook's book. You have cooks, but right now you have this course. You have cooks and you have this course, and you have the Pro-Black Compendium, and you have Zuberi. I'm telling you, we are going forward. We're going forward. So what you need to do now is you need to sign up from the African Blood Siblings You got to sign up at africanbloodsiblings.wordpress.com/Garvey. And it's going to be in the description here. You got to sign up. And if you say, hey, look, man, I don't have 10 weeks. I don't know why you don't have 10 weeks for your own people. But if you say you can't answer 5 questions a week, and you can't spend $5 a week, if you can't do that kind of stuff, get the money for a friend. Say, look here, my friend, I think that you'll be a good candidate for this. Get it for an acquaintance. Get it for a relative. Get it for anybody. Even a stranger. You can say, look, Oni, I don't know anybody, but I want somebody to take this course. If somebody comes along and says, I can't afford it. For some reason, I can't afford it. Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have emergencies. Sometimes you can't afford it just yet. You can say, hey, Oni, give this to them and let them know I gave it. Tell them that I gave it to them. And I'm like, I have no problem with that. But what we need to do is we need people enlisted in this course so that we can stop playing around, stop playing games, stop recycling, and move forward. The purpose here is to let African people turn away from the mindsets of our enemies and get to the mindsets of our ancestors that have liberated us. Sign up. AfricanBloodSiblings.wordpress.com/Garvey. Sign up today. And share this video with everybody. Everybody. Thank you for listening. I invite you to join hands with your brothers and sisters as we recite the African affirmation together. It's a call and response, so follow my lead. We are an African people, robbed from our homeland, robbed of our names, our languages, our cultures, our religions, our womanhood, our manhood, our sisterhood, our brotherhood, our motherhood, our fatherhood, our selfhood, our nationhood, and our self-respect. But we shall rise, never to fall again. Up, you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.